Hey, Lauren here. We are talking investment series or property values, and we're specifically talking about the assessed value and what the heck that means and some red flags that you might want to look out for, whether you are a buyer or a seller. So some things to look out for when you are a seller. You want to, well, one, when you own a home, you want to make sure your taxes are accurate or your property taxes are accurate. So let me back up for a second. I apologize. This is the second video we're doing talking about assessed values and taxes. And so your assessed value on the home is different from the price that you paid as well as the appraisal typically, even though we're all talking about the exact same property. Your assessed value is basically what the government taxes you on. And it might or might not be accurate. We'll just leave it at that. So you do want to make sure when you are selling your home, you want to make sure that the taxes are right and that the city didn't like really artificially inflate your price, or they think there's a Z estimate that's really high and then the government's using that number, and so your taxes are really high. I've actually had this happen to me at one of my investment properties in Atlanta. My taxes, for whatever reason, were the highest on the street, and they were higher by about 40%. And we're talking like $13,000 I was paying in taxes, where all my neighbors were paying 7 to 8. And the home values were about the same. It's just for some reason, my house got appraised at got assessed at 30, I'd say between 30 and 40, 35% more than what it was actually worth. And I have been fighting the city of Atlanta for years to get my taxes down, because it could potentially cause harm to the house, because no one wants to pay $13,500 in taxes when all the neighbors are paying between $7,000 and $8,000. So it is something that you do want to address with the city. And just because Zillow says my house is worth $1.2 million doesn't mean it actually is, especially when it's worth closer to between 8 or 9. So something you definitely want to work at. And in case you do, it's great to hire a wonderful realtor that can explain this to you and is cognizant about it and knows what it means, because there are ways to fight that assessment, but that is for another time. So, and on the flip side, so not only could your assessment be way off and high, it can also be really low when you go to buy a home. Let's say it's an older home that hadn't been on the market for a while. The assessed value can be artificially low just because there hasn't been recent sales on the house, and the government hasn't increased, or instead of the first example, they really assess the value, but they just haven't gotten to it, or it's, for whatever reason, it's just not on their radar. It will be on their radar when the house sells though. And so you do want to be careful when you put a offer in, or you just need to be cognizant of the fact that you might get a tax assessment and your taxes might go up depending on the assessed value of the home. And these are a little intricate, so it's good to talk to maybe a tax attorney or a CPA to really get down to the nitty-gritty on a house. But however, a well-trained realtor can give you like big red flags and then tell you where to go if they see them. And this can also happen with new construction homes, because the tax hasn't been established yet, and so the value of the house hasn't really been established, and what the builder paid in taxes will not be what you pay. You're going to pay a heck of a lot more. So if you're considering a mortgage, or actually I just bought a house in downtown Superior, or a townhome in downtown Superior, and I have taxes that are going to be between $7,000 and $8,000, but on the build sheet it had, I think they were around $2,000. And if I didn't know to look for that would have not gone over well. And so when you hire a realtor, make sure they know to look for the tax assessments and to see if there are any red flags. New construction is not going to have a great value on the house just because it didn't exist. So there's no historical data there. So it will be assessed for the current year. So there will be a jump up, just like houses that haven't been on the market for a while. So if you guys ever have any questions, I'm always happy to point you in the right direction. So thank you guys for tuning in.